Hello students, I am Harshala Datte, Senior Lecturer of Department of Computer Engineering Second Shift. In this video lecture, I am going to teach you topic stack applications. In last video lecture, we have learned definition of stack and the operations performed on the stack. So let us now understand the applications of the stack. This is a unit outcome of this video lecture. Explain the application of stack. The learning outcomes are to understand the stack application, that is reversing a list, understand an implementation of factorial recursive function, to understand the concept of Tower of Hanai, implementation of Tower of Hanai using recursive function. So these are the applications of the stack. First application is reversing a list. Stack is used to reverse a list. Stack also used in the recursive function. So we are going to learn two recursive functions in this video lecture, factorial and Tower of Hanai. And the last application is the polished notations. The polished notations application we are covered in the further video lectures. So let us understand the first application of the stack, that is reversing a list. For example, if you want to reverse the list, list is nothing but the array. If you have one character array having the word cat, if you want to reverse it, how you can reverse it with using stack? We will see with diagrammatically. This is the empty stack of size 3 and top is equal to -1. When top is equal to -1, it is a stack empty condition. If you want to reverse the string cat, you have to first put all the character of this string onto the stack one by one. So first we push C onto the stack like C, push C. For push operation, we have seen in previous video lecture or two steps are required. First we check whether there is a stack overflow or not. When your stack is overflow, when top is equal to max minus 1. In this case, max minus 1 is 3 minus 1, 2. So top is not 2, means there is no stack overflow. So let us perform the push operation. So for pushing the C, we first have to increment the top by 1. So -1 plus 1, it will become 0. And then we put the C or push the C at the top position of the array. Means since here top value is 0, so we push C at the 0th index position like this. After pushing C, push A. Again increment the top by 1, top will now become 1 and push A onto the first position. After that we push T, again same incremented, top is incremented by 1 and we push the T at the top position, that is second position. So here how we first push all the characters of the string that we are going to reverse onto the stack. But is it reverse? No. So for reversing it, we first push all the character onto the stack and then pop one by one and print the character to get the reverse list. See how? So this is what our stack, by pushing all the character of the string onto the stack. Now we are going to pop one by one character from the stack. So if I call pop function, it will automatically t will be get popped and we are going to print it whatever it is popped. So pop, you pop t and in output you print the t and you decrement the top by 1. Since in push operation we are incrementing the top and in pop operation we are decrementing the top by value 1. Again perform pop operation. Now a will be get removed from the stack and you are going to print it. After that you are going to pop, again perform pop operation, you are going to remove C from the stack and it will get printed. Now see, now your stack is become empty. We have performed all the pop function and we get the output which is the reverse of the cat. So reverse of the cat is nothing but a TAC tag. Okay. So this is how the stack is used for reversing the list. If you remember reverse function of this, see here this function uses the stack for implementing that reverse function. Okay. So next application of the stack is recursion. Whenever you compile or run any C program or any program having recursive function, so compiler uses stack to store all the function calls. We will see with the example. We are going to see two recursive functions here, factorial and tower of Hanai. So a function is said to be recursive if it calls itself again and again within its body. So recursive functions are factorial and the tower of Hanai. Let us see one by one. First we are going to see factorial. So this is the recursive factorial function. You can see that this is the fact function calling itself here in its body. Okay. So this is the recursive factorial function. Let us see if you want to calculate the factorial of 5. How you calculate 5 factorial? 5 factorial is nothing but the 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. If you see carefully, then the 5 factorial is nothing but 5 into 5 minus 1 factorial. So what is 5 minus 1? It is 4. So 5 factorial is nothing but the 5. See here, 5 into, this is the formula for the 4 factorial. 4 into 3 2 into 2 into 1. So any number factorial is equal to that number into that number minus 1 factorial. See here, if and value of 1 factorial is 1, this is universally fixed. The value of 1 factorial is 1. So other than this, if your value is not 1, more than 1, then you can calculate the factorial like this. That number a, take an example, if your a is 4. So 4 factorial is nothing but 4 into 4 minus 1, 3 factorial. Okay. 3 factorial is nothing but 3 into 2 factorial. 2 factorial is nothing but 2 into 1 factorial. Now we are going to see this function, how stack is used in the recursion. So this is the factorial function. When function call happens, previous variable gets stored in the stack. See, if I want to calculate the 4 factorial, what I pass value to the a, it is 4. So is 4 is 1, means is a is 1? No, it is 4. So control comes here at this line, and factorial we call a function again. What is a? A was 4. So 4 into fact of 4 minus 1, 3. See, so 4 into fact of 3 comes to the push it to the stack, and our control again comes here. Whenever we are calling recursive function, that function call line is stored into the push onto the stack. Again see, now a is become what? 3. Right now? Now a is become 3. So is 3 is equal to 1? No. So again 3 factorial is nothing but 3 into 3 minus 1, 2 factorial. So see, 3 factorial is nothing but 3 into fact of 2. Again control comes here, a is becoming 2. Again, is 2 is equal to 1? No. Again, 2 factorial is nothing but 2 into fact of 2 minus 1, 1. See, 2 into fact of 1 minus 1. Till now, we have called this function factorial 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So, all the function calls happens are get stored into the stack. Again, at this stage, again value a get the value 1. Again, we compare. Is 1 is equal to 1? Yes. Now, we get the a 1. So 1 factorial is what? 1. So here fact of 1 is what? 1. So this is how whenever the function call happens, it gets stored onto the stack. But our aim is to find a value of the 4 factorial. That is not still we get it. So now after pushing all the function call on the stack, now we are computing each and every value, pop it and computing all the values to get the final answer. So see how it performs. Returning the value from the base case to caller function. Now see, this is our stack after calling factorial function last time. So what is fact of 1? Fact of 1 is 1. So we pass this value, pop this statement, pass this value to the next element and onto the stack. So fact of 1 is what? 1. So we place this value at here, fact of 1. So 2 into fact of 1 is what? 1. So 2 into 1, 2. Again we pop the next. Now we are going to calculate 3 factorial. So 3 factorial is nothing but 3 into fact of 2. But fact of 2 value we get here, it is a 2. So 3 into 2, 6. Again we pop next last statement. What? 4 factorial is equal to 4 into fact of 3. So what is fact of 3? Answer is 6. So 4 into fact of 3 is 6. So 4 into 6 is equal to 24. So this is our answer. The answer of 4 factorial is 24. So for recursion, any recursive function, all the function calls get pushed onto the stack, and after pushing all the function calls, we returns the values from the base class to caller function by popping one by one. Okay. So this is how the stack is used whenever we run recursive functions. Let us take the another example of the or of the recursion. So another recursive function is the tower of Hanai. So first understand the problem of the Tower of Hanai. The aim of the Tower of Hanai problem is to move all the disks to some another tower without violating the sequence of the arrangement. Means as it is whatever disks present in one tower, we have to move all the disks from source tower to destination tower. Okay, but there are some rules. There are three rules whenever we are moving disks from one tower to another tower. So first rule is only one disk can be moved among the tower at any given time. Means at each time you can move only one disk from any tower. The second rule is only the top disk can be removed. You cannot remove the disk which is at below last disk. You have to remove first top disks. Why? Because the definition of the stack, the insertion and deletion take place at only one end, that is the top. And the last rule is no large disks can sit over the small disks. You cannot put the large disks on the small disks. You have always put the large disks on the small disks. You cannot put large disks on the small disks. So this is what the problem. If you want to move all these three disks, let us number that disks. The smallest disk is the disk 1 and the largest is the disk 3. The middle one is the disk 2. You have to move all the three disks 1, 2, 3 from pole 1 to pole 3. So pole 1 is the source pole and pole 3 is the destination pole. But for moving all the disks from pole 1 to pole 3, we require one temporary pole. So temporary or auxiliary pole is the pole 2. Let us see the example of this. So take an example if you have only one disk. So what is your aim? To move the disk from source to destination. What is source? Source is A and destination is C. So if there is only one disk, you can easily pop this and push it here. Okay. So you require only one move. You move the disk 1 from A to C. See output disk 1 move from A to C. So in only one move you can move disk 1 from destination pole. Now let us increase the disks. If there are two disks, so how you can move all these two disks to the destination pole? The source pole is the what? A. You have to your aim is to move disks 1 and 2. Remember the smallest disk is the 1 and the largest is the 2. So you are going to move disk 1, that is blue, disk 2, that is red, to the pole C, that is destination pole. To move these two disks to the C with all these three rules, keep in mind. First rule is what? You can move only one disk at a time. You cannot put both disks together and put here. The rule one is that you can only move only one disk at a time. The second rule was you can remove only the topmost disks. You cannot directly remove the what red disks, which is at below the blue disks. The second rule is you can only access the topmost disk, And the third rule was you cannot place larger discs onto the smaller discs. See here, larger discs at bottom and smaller discs is at top. So you cannot place bring red ring onto the blue ring. Okay, you cannot place the larger discs onto the small discs. So by applying these three rules, let us move all the discs from A to C by using the temporary pole B. So first move is from move disc 1, that is blue disc, to B. After this, move this red disc, that is larger disc 2, to C. And then move disc 1 B to C. See, move disc 1 from A to B, disc 1 A to B, then disc 2 from A to C, see here, and move disc 1 which is present at here, B to C. So this is what the output. We move all the two discs from A to C. Listen, there are many another way also to move 1 and 2, discs 1 and 2 from A to C, but this is the solution which having the minimum moves. So our aim is to move the discs from A to C with the minimum moves. You can move these two discs from A to C using 4 moves, okay, or 5 moves, whatever. But we want what we have to move this within the minimum moves. So this is the optimal solution for moving the discs from pole A to pole C. Let us take an example. If there are 3 discs, so these are the 3 discs. See, as I told you, the smallest disc is the disc 1, next disc 2, and red one is the disc 3. Largest is the disc 3. So what is the first step to, this is the disc 1. So move disc 1 A to C. See, move disc 1 A to C. After that, move disc 2 from A to B. See, next step is what? Move disc 1 from C to B. Here. Then in step 4, you move disc 3 from A to C. Red disc is from A to C. Then in fifth step, you move disc 1 from B to A. Disc 1 was the green disc. You move it from B to A. See here. Next step is what? Move disc 2 from B to C. See? Disc 2 from B to C. And last, move disc 1 from A to C. So how many moves you require to move 3 discs from A to C using B as a temporary pole? 7 moves. You require how many moves? 7 moves. For 2 discs you require 3 moves, and for 1 disc you require only 1 moves. So let us now see the implementation of Tower of Hanaya, recursive function of the Tower of Hanaya. So this is the logic behind the Tower of Hanaya. If there is only the one disc, see step number 1. If there is only one disc, then move the disc from source. A is the source pole, C is the destination pole, and B is the temporary pole. Okay. So if there is only one disc that we have seen now, that then directly we do not require the temporary pole, that is B, pole B. We directly, since there is only one disc, you directly move it from source to destination, that is from A to C. The next, if there are more than one disc, then these 3 steps are there. First, move n minus 1 disc from A to B using C as a temporary. Then move remaining discs from A to C, and the last step is move n minus 1 discs from B to C using A as a temporary. Let us see the recursive function. You will get understand. So in recursive function there are 4 parameters. First parameter is number of discs, how many discs you want to move from A to C. Second parameter is the source pole A. Next is the destination pole, that is C, and last one is the temporary pole. Okay, that is B. So our destination pole is A, source pole is A, destination pole is C, and our temporary pole is B. So implement this logic here in function. So first step is what? If n is equal to 1, then directly move it from A to C, source to destination. See, if the dix is only 1, n is equal to 1, then move dix 1 from pole A to C. A is a source pole and C is a destination pole. We do not require the temporary pole, that is B. But what happens if the n is greater than 1? Then next line. If n is greater than 1, then move. Whenever we are saying that move, we are actually calling the tower of an function recursively. Okay. So move what top n minus 1 dix. That's why we are written here n minus n minus 1 from A to C using C as a temporary. A to B using C as a temporary. So here we write A, here we write B, and C is a temporary. If you remember, these parameters are source, destination, and temporary. So what is source A? See here, from A to B means source is A, destination is B, source, destination, and C is a temporary. That's why we are right here C. Okay. The next is move the remaining dix from A to C. So next step is printf statement. Move dix from remaining dix from A to C means source to destination. See, and A minus C. Next, last step is move n minus dix from n minus 1 dix from B to C using A as a temporary. So B is a source, C is a destination, and A is a temporary. See here, tower of n minus 1, B is a source, C is a destination, and A is a temporary pole. Let us now understand this recursive function with the example. So if there is only one disk, so we easily move it from A to C. So we will understand this function using the two disks. Okay. So see here, input is 2. We have learned this before, how diagrammatically two disks are move from A to C, source to destination using B. First step is move disk 1 to B, then move disk 2 to C, then move disk 1 to C. So let us now, we will understand it with the help of the function. Now see, if your input is 2 means your n is 2. See, n is what? 2. And this is the source pole, this is the destination pole, and this is the temporary pole. Okay. If n is equal to 1, what is our n? N is what? 2. So this condition is not satisfied. So our control comes here. So n minus 1 means 2 minus 1, 1. And A, B, C. So A is the source, B is the destination, C is the temporary. So we pass this 1 A, B, C here. This is a recursion, tower of an call itself. So see, n minus 1, 2 minus 1, 1, A, B, C. Now A is the source, B is the destination, and C is the temporary. Okay. So again, is n is equal to 1? Yes. Now n is equal to 1. We have not moved anything till now. Okay. Is n is equal to 1? Yes. Now n is equal to 1. So move dix 1 from pole percent %C to pole percent %C. A to C. A to C means what? Source to destination. What is source? A. What is destination now? B. So we move the dix 1 from A to B at this line. See. Move dix 1 from A to B. Okay. Next, after this, our control comes here. This line we have compiled. Now our control comes at this printf statement. Printf statement says what? Move dix. Whenever our control comes at here, our n will become 2. Why? You will remember, if you remember, our n was 2. Then at this location, we again passing the control here by reducing the n by 1. But at when control comes here, our n again becomes the 2. So again see, move this percent %d from pole C to pole percent %C. So n to move dix n. What is n? Our 2. Dix 2 to A to C. See, move dix 2 to A to C. Next step. Again our control comes here. Tower of 1, again we call this n minus 1. So 2 minus 1, again 1, B, C, A. See, Now again control comes here from this line. Tower of Hanai calling itself again. So our control comes here. So is n is 1? Yes. So if n is 1, then move dix 1 from source to destination. What is source? B. What is destination? C. So we are moving the dix 1 from B to C. B to C. This is how the recursive function of Tower of Hanai work for the 2 disks. Likewise, it is work for the disks 3 disks, 4 disks, 5 disks. Okay, and so on. So these are the two recursive functions of the stacks, factorial and the Tower of Hanai. So in this video lecture, we have learned two stack applications. One is the reversing a list. If you want to reverse the list, you put all the list character onto the stack, then pop one by one and print it to get the reverse list. And second application is the recursion. Whenever you write the recursive function in program, so compiler uses the stack to store all the function calls, and after pushing all the function calls, it again uh, functions back function calls to calculate the final value. Okay, so we have seen in it factorial function as well as Tower of Hanai problem. Thank you.